Head over to miniaturemarket.com. They have thousands of board games at discounted prices like Rebuilding Seattle. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Back in the late 1800s, Seattle had burnt down unfortunately, and they rebuilt it up on top of itself. In fact, I've been to Seattle, I've done the underground tour where you're looking up and you're down where the old storefronts were and you're looking up and there's people walking over here, it's kind of crazy. Anyway, that's what you're doing here. It is a polyomino economic game. Let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to start with a board, mine's waterfront. Each of them are a little bit different, you'll have some different abilities, you'll also get a starting neighborhood, and based upon this, you'll start on different spots on this amenity track where blue is entertainment, pink is shopping, and orange is restaurants. These are three different quality tracks you're going to be moving up your city in, and these are the amenities that are available for that. You're going to be trying to move up those, and this is where you're going to start building things on here, and you're going to be able to expand this as well. But over the course of the game, you're also going to be possibly building a couple of landmarks, which are hugely expensive, but they give you big benefits. You'll sort of select 2 of 3 that you'll get dealt at the beginning of the game, but this is pretty much how the game starts. Now the game is played over 3 rounds. Each round you're going to have a stack of cards here, and these cards get better and better as the game goes on. If there's 3 or 4 players, there'd be additional boards with more cards. It becomes quite a table hog there, but I'm showing you a 2-player game here. Now on your turn you have 1 of 3 possibilities. One is you can basically buy a tile and or a suburb tile here. Now money is tight in this game, even in the first round for sure. And this, if I want to buy this, it's $3. If I want to buy this, it's $4. This gets me a new tile. For an action, you could buy either or both of these. Now when I buy this, it tells me which piece to get. So I'll go to the set of pieces that look just like this, and I'll place it. Now when you place it, you cannot overlap any buildings that are there, but I can build it like this, or like this, or like this, for example. There's certain reasons why you don't want to build over these icons. I'll go over those in just a minute. Most of the games, sometimes you want to cover icons and get things. Here, you actually don't want to build over them. So now, because this has 4 of these sort of shopping tags, we're going to move our amenity marker up 4. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. We typically want this to go high. This is our population. Now, unlike most city building games, you actually want this population to go down, because this shows you how many amenities there are. This shows you the population. So right now, there's not quite enough amenities for the population. So it's not going to be great. You want your amenities to be equal to or greater than your population, of course, on all the tracks, but you're going to have to just focus on 1 or 2 of them, really. Now, in addition, this is also going to tell you to move up a quality track in a certain thing. Like this says, hey, go up 1 in restaurants there. Now, this is going to be important for round end scoring. So let's say this is how the round ended. Now, right now we have our amenity track pink of shopping is ahead of this. So we look where we're at and we can get $8 or 8 points. Now for orange, normally we would get 10 points here for being here, but because we're behind 2 spots, so we actually get 2 less, so we would get 8 points. Now blue, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 back. Right now we would get $4 and 4 points, but since we're 8 back, we don't get anything because we subtract that. We would need to have been, maybe if we were here, it's this minus 1, 2, we would get $2 and 2 points. So that's how the tracks and the quality tracks and the amenity tracks work together, and how you're moving up and then trying to get these up. Now this will reset at the end of the round. Next round starts at 12, and the 3rd round starts at 12. So you're kind of like setting these up. Now these stay the same, so you're working on these tracks throughout the game. So on the next turn, let's say I buy one of these. Now again, you can make it like this, or you could make it like this. It just totally depends on what you're trying to do. Again, I wouldn't have enough money to do all of this, but I'd buy this for 3, and again, it's going to get me this. So again, if I bought this, I'd get this piece, and putting it here is nice because I'm not covering anything there. Now again, it's going to make me go up to 4 on that amenity track. And here, this gives me some scoring. Each profit phase, which is at the end of the round, $1 per entertainment tile that I have out there. So right now, there's a printed one on here, but once I have this, now for the rest of the game, I might start to try and be getting a bunch of these to like work on my profit. There's a little engine building there. Now these cards don't get replaced during the round, but some of the spots have printed things on there that you can always buy, assuming there's a piece left of that type. So that's one thing you can do, is get a building and or a suburb tile. The other thing you can do is enact a law. Once per round, you can enact a law. Each of these boards are different per player. For this waterfront, I could go to the business fund and increase any one of my quality track. That would be great. Or I could gain $2 and lose a population. That's both good. And remember, going population down is actually good in this game. And public spaces, or I could spend $1 to gain 7 points. Wow, that's actually really great. Now you can only do this once per round because at the end of the round you'll reset that. Now the other thing you can do is enact an event. These same 6 events are out every round. Now this is basically like players deciding when they want something to score, for example. So I might activate the shopping event. Now first of all, this would allow me to get a single little piece here that I can kind of slide in there. Of course it moves up my menu tracker. But then, I could do that, or I could gain 3 points. But then all players score the quality track for paying, for shopping. So here, I'm at least where my population was. By the way, I'd never be this far in round 1. So I would get $8 or 8 points, but everyone scores it. But that's it. It's only going to score 1, so you're trying to figure out when to score these different things. Now these two do the same thing except for the blue and the orange tracks, the entertainment and restaurants. Now this one, remember I told you about not covering things. Now depending on the round, all players are going to gain $3, sorry. And then in round 1, everyone's going to get $1 for each park they have not uncovered. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to get 3 there. In round 2, you'll lose population for the water. Round 3, different things. So you have different sort of goals during this part of the event. Now these are different ones. There's graduation and there's sort of railroad expansions there. Now these have you lose a population or gain $3, then all players lose a population per this. Now that's great because the lower your population, the better your tracks are going to be. So typically you want to score this before these other things score. If you're doing well on this. If you're not, you might want to just do this just to screw somebody else. This one is you can buy a suburb tile for $1 and then all players gain a suburb tile for each one of these things. So you could be expanding a lot easier if you have those railroads. Now once all the 6 events have been enacted, that's going to end the round. Now each player is going to get $5 for every one of these profit symbols that are visible on your board. So that's another strategy. You might be going for a money strategy and getting a bunch of those green buildings. Remember, some people are getting engine built for money too during this profit phase to get $1 for every one of these entertainments. As the rounds go on, as I said, the cards get better. Here's some from round 3 with some end game goals. 1 point for every one of these railroad tiles, or for the graduation, or for the profit ones, the green ones. So there's different ways to get points based upon the ones that you grab as well. Now points is tracked here as prestige, and tokens like this are money. Now remember, there's landmarks that you've selected that cost a certain amount. You could build them for an action. They're expensive, but this would give you up 1 in each of the quality tracks within the end of the game, 2 points for each level on your on each level of your quality track. So that's a huge end game thing. Or here, you would gain points equal to the money you have after buying this. And these are specific landmarks. Again, you have to build these and you have to have room, and they take up a lot of space. So they're harder to get out, but they give you good and some good points there. Now there's some other landmarks that give you points for adjacency, like 4 points for every railroad adjacent to at least one of these types of tiles, or 4 points for this adjacent to one of these. So if you have these at the beginning of the game, you're starting to already plan for these. I've used one of these and been able to get tons of points at them at the end of the game. Again, they're still expensive, but it gives you sort of something to shoot for, something to build off of for the whole game. That's pretty much it. At the end of the 3rd round, whoever has the most points is the winner. Now before I get to my final thoughts, I want to tell you about a way that you can save money on your cell phone bills with Mint Mobile, who's sponsoring these final thoughts. Now you may have seen the owner and actor Ryan Reynolds and his funny commercials about how Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month without sacrificing any coverage, speed, or data. Now they're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep costs low because they sell direct to you online, and they cut out the retail stores and salespeople's. You can scan the QR code or go to mintmobile.com/GameBoyGeek to check out this great offer, all while helping support my channel. All right, rebuilding Seattle. As I mentioned in the intro, I've been to Seattle a handful of times, and I did that underground tour, which was so cool seeing how they built the whole city on top of where the old storefronts were and such like that. So I have a lot of ties to the theme here. I like economic games. This is a tight economic game that opens up and lets you breathe. First time I played this, first round, I'm like, oh my gosh, this game's gonna be over quick. Like, we don't start with that much money, things cost 3 or 4 or 5, and you're gonna be able to do what, like 1 or 2 things, and the round's gonna be over. But no, what happens is you start getting buildings that allow you to do different things, and you build a little bit of an engine, and then you start getting more and more money, and as the game goes up, it ratchets up nicely, it opens up nicely. The course of the game, the arc of the game, towards the end, you're doing all this stuff, and you feel like you have a little bit more money than you need. But at the beginning, it feels really tight. And I like that because if it had stayed that tight the whole time, it wouldn't have been for me. It would have been too tight. But I like that it sort of opened up each round and allowed you to get more and more done each round as well. I like Polyomino games, and I like that you're using those to build up your city. I also like it's kind of a twist because a lot of times you're trying to cover up icons, and in this one you're actually trying to not cover up icons because they give you certain bonuses as certain things score. I like that the players decide what scores when by enacting those events. And it's like, you could be like, yeah, this is going to get me something, but it's going to score this. I'm not going to be doing good in this. That player is close to getting a full bonus. He's probably going to be working for it. I'll just take this now, get a little bit of a boost, and they're not going to be able to get as much as they normally would, right? And so you can kind of hate draft that way. But again, the timing of when things score is so huge in this game, and you have some control over it, but the more players are, the less control you have over it. But I like that. The players deciding what scores when. It makes it a free-for-all. Makes sure every game it feels very different. I like the landmark powers. They give you some long-term strategies. You get those at the beginning. You get 3 of them. You pick 2 of them from those 3. And that gives you a long-term strategy, especially if you get one of the ones that's like, hey, have the most money, like I showed you, after you buy this. Well, you're going to be working on a money engine in that game. Or the one that's like, hey, put one of these adjacent to one of these. You get a certain amount of points for every one of these. So from the beginning of the game, you can start working on that and building this so that when you're able to finally build it, it's going to be huge end game points. I like that. I like that you're trying to balance population with the amenities, right? You're trying to bring that population down, but you're trying to bring the amenities up so there's at least as much amenities for the population. Different little levers that you're pulling up and down. I like that the third round tiles in the end give you the sort of like the end game goals, a lot of different things that you can try to finesse and try to figure out by the end. I like that this feels like a bigger game than it is. It takes about an hour to play, but it feels like a bigger game than that. You've done enough thinking, you've done enough crunching, and it feels like a bigger epic game than that. On the negative side of things, 3 or 4 players, it really becomes a table hog because you have 2 more boards that you're setting up with all more cards. And it's definitely more lengthy, the more players. I think this game is best with 2 players because, again, it doesn't take up as much table space, and the turns just you go back and forth, and you have a little bit more control of which events go when. 3 or 4 players takes more table space, takes more time, and you have less control. So I think this game is best with 2, which isn't a bad thing. I like games that are best with 2 because I can get one other person to play more often than I can get 3 or 4. I wouldn't not play this with 3 or 4 players. I just think this game is best with 2. But with all that being said, if you like economic games and you like Polyomino games, definitely want to check out Rebuilding Seattle. But the Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships with board games by helping you find the next one you'll love. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table into a high-quality gaming solution, but they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with over 20 styles of thematic game mats in 11 different sizes from notable board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and real cool accessories, experience what thousands of other gamers enjoy by upgrading every game you play with a Game Topper system. Save hundreds of dollars on Game Topper package deals that are in stock now for immediate shipping at GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below.